Hey gang, this is a topic that I have been trying to avoid, but I can no longer hold my tongue because early voting is going to be here before we know it, and then it's going to be the first Tuesday of November. Obviously, I'm talking about the presidential election. We have two very, very shitty choices when it comes to the major parties this time around. And I'm going to start with Democrats because I've been a Democrat all my life, ever since I became an eligible voter. Democrats are completely full of shit. And I've had enough. So, here's the deal. If you're going to go out on the campaign trail and say that Donald Trump is a mean-spirited, hateful, racist, sexist, misogynist, white supremacist bully, and that his supporters follow suit, you need to have clean hands. It would be the same thing if you were to file a lawsuit in a court of law. You have to have clean hands in order to win your case. And Hillary knows this because she's a lawyer, but she's not doing a very good job of following it. So there are a few things that the Democrats want you to forget when you go into the voting booth and cast your votes this fall. And I'm going to tell you what some of them are. First and foremost, they want you to forget that Hillary Clinton's little bitch, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, publicly admitted to rigging the primary election in Hillary's favor from day one when she issued a public apology to Bernie Sanders and then stepped down. But they want you to just completely block that out. Second of all, they want you to forget about Hillary's record. And this is a very deep subject, and this is going to be kind of the central theme of the day today. So, Hillary Clinton is not the woman that we think she is. Democrats want you to forget about her conservatism, which she has admitted publicly that her political views are rooted in the conservatism with which she was raised. Hillary Clinton was born into a family of Republicans, conservative Republicans. And when she was a teenager, she volunteered for Barry Goldwater's presidential campaign. Barry Goldwater is Mr. Conservative. He was a senator from Arizona, and in 1964, he voted against the Civil Rights Act. So that was the first one. The second thing is that Hillary has given several interviews in which she has flip-flopped on issues from free trade to gay marriage to abortion to universal health care. And she has done this not because of what she actually believes, but because, well, she turned into a professional politician and started running for office. You can see all this shit on YouTube, by the way. She used to believe that marriage was between a man and a woman. She used to be pro-life. She actually still supports NAFTA and the Trans-Pacific Partnership and all that shit. And she has, with the exception of the not-so-free trade agreements, she has flip-flopped on those issues since she became a vindictive politician. She does not support universal health care anymore, probably because her husband deregulated the healthcare industry and caused a gigantic clusterfuck when he was president. She is not pro-life anymore, probably because she moved to New York to run for Senate. By the way, she had never lived in New York before that. She moved to a place where she was not a resident just so she could run for office. She has now decided that marriage is okay for gay people because, well, she's running as a Democrat. Democrats are not supposed to be so bigoted. She also supports fracking. There have been several articles to this effect. Hillary Clinton supports fracking. Fracking is one of the worst things that has ever been invented in the history of the world. She also supports the military-industrial complex. She supported the war in Iraq. She supported the Patriot Act. She supported every single invasion of privacy that has come up, starting with the Bush administration. She supports the war on drugs. She pals around with people like Henry Kissinger, Paul Wolfowitz, and, oh yeah, former KKK Grand Master Robert Byrd, the senator from West Virginia. She considered him a mentor and a friend. She is extremely racist. She was actually a supporter of President Clinton's mass incarceration when more black people were sent to jail than during slavery. She supported the bailouts of Wall Street and the banks and the big three auto companies. And there's those speaking fees that she was given by Goldman Sachs. Now, I want to know what speeches she gave that are worth $600,000. That is not a speaking fee. That is a bribe. They also want you to forget that she was a corporate attorney who represented Monsanto. She also was on the board of Walmart when Bill was governor of Arkansas. And I'll tell you something. If you don't think, when she gets elected president, if you don't think that these people are going to come rushing to the White House with their hands out, you've got another thing coming. And you know what? She's going to appease them because guess what? Walmart's giving her campaign money. Goldman Sachs gave her a bribe. Monsanto probably gave her campaign money because they never forget. They never forget. I mean, that's how corporate welfare works. And Hillary Clinton is all for that because she benefits from it. That gives her the power to go on TV and try to convince the American people that she's progressive while behind the scenes acting just like a Republican. So there's that. And then there's the issue of Tim Kaine. Now, one of the selling points of Tim Kaine as vice president is that he's a gringo who speaks Spanish, like me. And that's cool. The issue that I have is the manner in which Tim Kaine learned Spanish. Okay? Tim Kaine learned Spanish because he went to Honduras on a Jesuit mission and went into the villages and interacted with people. That's where he learned Spanish. Now, in order to understand this, you have to understand a little bit about the Jesuits. The Jesuits are a relic of European colonialism. What they would do is they would go into the villages of the native tribes and set up missions and convert the people to Christianity in order to distract those people from the fact that the colonial masters were basically stealing their land and pillaging everything. The people who didn't convert, I'm guessing that they were killed. The native tribes that didn't go along with all that shit, I'm guessing that they were wiped out the way that the Aztecs and the Mayans were wiped out. That's your Jesuit mission that Tim Kaine went on. Oh, and speaking of Honduras, let's get back to Hillary for a minute. This is the real juicy shit right here. Honduras, thanks to a military coup that overthrew a democratically elected president, is now the murder capital of the world. And the government has been waging a campaign to slaughter its own people, particularly native tribal leaders. There was one famous case in which a woman was murdered by government troops that actually made international headlines. Now, who in the hell could possibly spin that into something positive? Well, I'll tell you who did. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Because she supported that military coup that made Honduras the murder capital of the world. Now, she might not have supported it if it happened in the United States, but other countries? Fuck 'em! Same reason she voted for the war in Iraq that was started by her pal George W. Bush. So what do we do, progressives? Well, the answer is, give the Democrats a great big fuck you. I'm voting for Jill Stein because she's a real progressive. She's the other woman in the race, and she's 100 times more qualified to be president than Hillary Clinton. Give me a fucking break. All right, I'm approaching 15 minutes, so I'm going to turn this camera off now and sign out. Next time, we're going to talk about Trump and how he and all his Republican buddies could do us all a favor if they would just move to Somalia, because they have the smallest kind of government you could possibly imagine. Zero. Bye-bye.